With just 5, this poor girl's blind date revealed an unexpected life-changing moment for a CEO. Jenna felt the familiar knot in her stomach as she wiped down the table at the cafe, a place that pulsed with the noise of laughter and clinking cutlery. Just $5 were stuffed in her pocket, hardly enough to make a difference. But today was different. She had a blind date with Eric, a CEO from a nearby tech firm. Hope flickered inside her. Maybe tonight could break the monotonous cycle of waitressing and caring for her ailing mom. As Jenna walked through the park, the scent of blooming flowers sparked a giddy unease within her. The sky was bright, birds chirped, everything felt almost surreal. Her heart raced as she approached the designated meeting spot. What would he be like? The casual thoughts collided with deep-rooted fears of inadequacy. What's a guy like him doing here with someone like me? She muttered under her breath. But she silenced those doubts. Tonight, she'd be bold. When Jenna spotted Eric, his casual confidence stood in stark contrast to her nervousness. With his tailored suit and charming smile, he seemed worlds away from her everyday grind. Their conversation danced like fireflies in summer, the easy banter, the laughter that overflowed into the air. Yet, the more they talked, the more obvious their different worlds became. Eric shared anecdotes about business deals and the luxury of choice she could hardly imagine. Jenna opened up about her struggles to make ends meet, painting a vivid picture of her daily life, working double shifts and battling the weight of responsibility for her mom's care. Just as they reached a comfortable rhythm, the clouds gathered like a sudden storm, rain pouring down in sheets. They dashed for the nearby community center, seeking warmth and shelter. Inside, the cozy atmosphere buzzed with families sharing stories and laughter, a heartbeat that resonated with Jenna. Welcome to my world, Jenna beamed, introducing Eric to neighbors who lived similar lives. She could see it in Eric's eyes. He was taken aback by the bond woven through laughter, struggles, and kindness. Conversations flowed easily here, and the warmth enveloped them like a blanket. Eric, surrounded by genuine camaraderie, watched Jenna shine, her passion holding the space like a lighthouse. The stark contrast to his life of polished boardrooms and exclusive circles was striking. Before they knew it, the rain subsided, but not the internal storms brewing within Eric. He had entered her world only to see it flash bright with love, struggle, and hope. As they made jokes over a bowl of soup shared at a worn-out table, he felt the creeping depression of his own solitary existence, reevaluating his views on wealth and privilege. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the evening wore on, Jenna felt an electric connection with Eric, vibrant and full of possibilities. But deep down, she couldn't help but wonder if their worlds could ever truly align. Outside, the sun dipped below the horizon. In this moment of intimacy, they stood at a threshold, uncertain of what lay ahead. Could love bridge the chasm between their lives, or was it merely a fleeting moment destined to fade? Jenna's heart raced with both excitement and fear, knowing that this evening could change everything or nothing at all. Jenna and Eric shared nervous laughter as the last remnants of the rain vanished, leaving a fresh scent lingering in the cool evening air. Jenna looked into Eric's eyes, seeing a flicker of something deep, curiosity, perhaps. It was as if he wanted to dive deeper but held back, caught in a struggle he couldn't articulate. You really have a way with people, he said, his voice soft yet odd. Jenna shrugged, her cheeks turning rosy. It's just my life, I guess. It's all I know. But as she spoke, memories of sleepless nights and endless worry crept into her mind. Could she let someone in, especially someone from a world so far removed from hers? Have you ever thought about doing something more with this talent? Eric leaned forward, a hint of admiration in his gaze. You could be a motivator, a leader in your community. His words hung in the air, making Jenna pause. It had never crossed her mind. A leader? Her. She felt a surge of hope mingling with disbelief. But just as quickly, that familiar knot twisted tighter. That sounds nice, but I have too much on my plate already. I can't think about anything beyond tomorrow. Eric nodded, a shadow passing over his face. I get that. I've been there too. Sometimes you need to step back and see the bigger picture. A silence settled between them, thick with unspoken understanding. A part of Jenna wanted to reach out, share her dreams that felt so distant they were almost laughable. She dared to look up at him, her heart racing. What about you, Eric? Has it always been about business for you? He sighed, his gaze drifting momentarily away. In many ways, yes. But I didn't start there. I worked my way up. I learned about struggle, as I'm sure you can imagine. Their eyes locked again, and in that moment, Jenna knew they were both searching for something. She felt the tension shift, pulling them closer, inviting vulnerability. Jenna leaned in slightly, catching a glimpse of his world through his eyes. What do you really want, Eric? His smile faded, revealing a crack in his facade. I want to feel connected like I did when I was younger. Sometimes, the higher you climb, the lonelier it gets. Her heart sank at his admission. The image of the powerful CEO started to unravel, revealing a man grappling with his own insecurities. Here they were, two souls seeking connection, yet shackled by their realities. An unexpected quiet enveloped them, a moment where societal labels faded, and it was just Eric and Jenna. What if we could change that? She ventured. What if we could help each other? The idea hung between them like a fragile thread, ready to break or hold firm. Eric's gaze softened. Are you serious? Why not? You clearly see something in what I do. And maybe you can help me find a way to bring my world to life in a bigger way. A hesitant smile crept across her face. And maybe I could remind you what it means to belong. Eric considered her for a moment, his brow furrowing in thought. It's unconventional, but I think you might be onto something here. As the sun finally disappeared, leaving a blanket of stars above, they took a leap together into this idea. But as excitement coursed through Jenna, another thought crept in. Could she truly trust him with her dreams? And could they forge a path among their two vastly different lives, or were they just setting themselves up for heartache? Just then, a commotion broke their reverie as a family nearby raised their voices, filling the silence. Jenna released her breath, internally grappling with this newfound hope, all the while aware of the ticking clock. Could a simple blind date turn into more than just one magical evening? Their connection was fragile, but the possibilities were endless. Jenna bit her lip, feeling both exhilarated and terrified of what lay ahead. Would the journey together blossom into something beautiful, or would they be swallowed by the enormity of their lives? As she looked at Eric, something deep within her stirred. The night was still new, and they had only begun to scratch the surface of what was unfolding. What would their next step be? Would they have the courage to pursue it? The night unfolded like a delicate flower, yet Jenna felt a storm brewing within. She glanced at Eric, his strong jawline silhouetted against the starlit sky. The more they talked, the more real their connection felt. Yet, doubts lingered in her mind like dark clouds threatening to overshadow her fragile hope. What is stopping you from pursuing this? Eric's voice broke her train of thought. Jenna hesitated. Was it fear of failure? Of stepping into the spotlight when she had always existed in the shadows? I guess it's the fear of not being enough, she whispered, vulnerability creeping into her words. What if I don't have what it takes? What if people don't believe in me? Eric's expression softened, and he leaned closer, closing the gap of uncertainty between them. You're already doing so much. You're making a difference, even if it's just one person at a time. As she looked into his eyes, she saw the sincerity there. She thought of the times she had poured her heart into helping others, the feeling of fulfillment that washed over her as she saw even a glimmer of hope in their eyes. But this? Turning it into something more. That felt daunting. I appreciate that, really, she said softly. But the world works differently for people like us. I don't have connections or resources, Eric. I'm just me. And that's enough, he countered, an edge to his tone. You underestimate the power of your story, Jenna. People are drawn to authenticity. Your struggles make you relatable. They are what could inspire others. Jenna's heart raced. Was he actually suggesting that her experiences could resonate with others? You really think so? I know so, Eric replied, his confidence infectious. You could touch lives, Jenna. And you'd be surprised how many people would want to help you on that journey. I could help. What do you mean? She leaned back slightly, crossing her arms, unsure if his offer was genuine or just a fleeting moment sparked by the chemistry of the evening. My company supports community initiatives. We have programs that aim to empower individuals like you, he explained. I could connect you with resources, mentors, whatever it takes. If you work together with me, who knows what could happen? Hope ignited within her, yet skepticism lingered like a shadow. And what's in it for you? She asked, direct and unyielding. Why would a businessman like you want to help someone like me? He hesitated for a brief moment, the light in his eyes dimming. Honestly? He said, his voice dropping to a whisper. Because I'm tired of feeling disconnected. I want to be part of something bigger, something that matters. Their gaze held in that charged silence, each of them caught in a web of possibilities. Jenna felt the tension of the moment wrap around them, and for the first time, she could glimpse a path that didn't seem so scary. It was like a door had cracked open, revealing a world where she could make an impact and, maybe, find herself in the process, but before she could respond, the flickering lights of a nearby cafe caught her eye, sending her thoughts spiraling back to reality. What if it doesn't work out? She murmured, the doubt creeping back in. What if it does? Eric shot back, his voice firm yet soft. Sometimes you have to take that leap, Jenna. I'd rather try and fail than wonder what could have been. She felt a wave of excitement wash over her, mingling with fear. What did leap look like, though? And if they did take that risk, would they fall together or end up shattering their hopeful connection? As the night air buzzed with anticipation, Jenna and Eric stood at the edge of something new and uncertain. Would they embrace this chance to pursue a shared dream? Or would they retreat back to what they knew, missing out on something life-changing? Suddenly, Jenna whispered, let's talk about how we can make this work. But just as the words left her lips, her phone buzzed in her pocket, pulling her back to the present. Who could it be? As she reached for it, a new wave of nerves washed over her. What awaited her on the other end of the line could change everything. Jenna's heart pounded as she fished out her phone, her fingers trembling slightly. The screen lit up with a familiar name, Megan, her closest friend and biggest supporter. Taking a deep breath, she swiped to answer, her eyes flickering nervously to Eric, who watched her with an encouraging smile. Hey, you. Megan's voice sparkled with energy, wrapping around Jenna like a warm blanket. You'll never guess what just happened. You busy? Kind of, Jenna said hesitantly, unable to tear her eyes away from Eric. Can I call you back? No way. Megan exclaimed. This is too good to wait. You remember that fundraising event next week? The one I wanted to help with? Well, I just had a chat with someone who could really come through for us. I mean, like, big-time help. Jenna's stomach tightened. She had volunteered at plenty of events, but the concept of leading one felt terrifying. That's great, Meg, but wait. Let me finish. Megan interrupted, almost breathless. This guy, he owns his own tech company, and he is super passionate about community outreach. He wants to meet us. We could present our ideas and Meg, this is a lot. I don't even know if I'm ready for something like that, Jenna said, her voice wavering with uncertainty. She glanced at Eric, who was still listening, his expression supportive yet intense. Listen to me, Megan said, her tone sharpening into a gentle urgency. This could be our chance. Think of all the people we could help. This guy can give us exposure, resources, everything we need. You need to do this. You're more than capable. Jenna felt her heart flutter, torn between her friend's excitement and her own curling anxiety. What if she embarrassed herself? What if the man turned out to be unkind? I don't know, just put aside the what-ifs for a second. What if this is the moment you've been waiting for? Megan challenged. Jenna could hear the passion sizzling through the speaker. You know how amazing you are when you let yourself shine. Remember the last time we helped that single mom? That look on her face. Jenna's thoughts drifted to the mom they had once aided together. The joy shining in her eyes had been unforgettable. That had felt good, real good. But this was different. A spotlight was one thing, a stage was another. Jenna began to reply, but Eric's soft voice interrupted her thoughts. Don't let fear hold you back, Jenna, he said, his gaze steady and encouraging. You've impacted lives already. Imagine what you could do with the right platform. A surge of determination fluttered within her chest. Okay, I'll do it, she said breathlessly, surprising even herself. I'll meet with him. Megan squealed on the other end. Yes. I can't believe it. We'll meet tomorrow and prepare. Just be yourself, okay? As Jenna ended the call, the weight of her decision felt real. She had taken the first step, one she never thought she would take. She looked at Eric, who had a proud grin, and she couldn't help but feel strengthened by his belief in her. What now? She asked, the flood of questions swirling back in. What if I mess up? Then you grow from it, Eric replied, ever resolute. That's how we learn. But I believe no, I know you won't mess up. As they stood together under the endless sky, basking in the hopeful glow of possibility, Jenna felt lighter, almost free. Yet, the undeniable truth nudged at her, she was diving into uncharted waters, and the undertow of uncertainty was still lurking. The night cradled them in soft serenity, but Jenna could feel the tide shifting. This could lead to something extraordinary or a moment of vulnerability she hadn't prepared for. Would she rise to the occasion, or would the waves swallow her whole? Just then, her phone buzzed again. Another message. Jenna squinted at the screen. But this time, it was from an unknown number. The words made her breath hitch. Ready to change your life? Meet me at the cafe tomorrow at noon. Who was this H? And what did they mean? Jenna's heart sank with a mix of dread and excitement, knowing tomorrow could lead her to a pivotal moment. Jenna stared at the message, her eyes widening with a mix of confusion and anticipation. Who was H? Her mind raced with possibilities, each one more nerve-wracking than the last. Are you okay? Eric asked, stepping closer, his brow furrowing in concern. His presence felt solid and steady, grounding her in the whirlwind of her emotions. You look a little pale. Yeah, I just got a text from someone named H, she replied, trying to keep her voice steady. They want to meet at the cafe tomorrow. No clue who they are or what this is about. Could be a coincidence, Eric shrugged. Or maybe a potential supporter. You never know with these things. Or a complete disaster, Jenna replied, her anxiety creeping back in. What if they're a waste of time? Then you'll brush it off and focus on what matters, Eric said, his confidence radiating through the cool night air. But it could also be another opportunity. You don't want to miss that. Jenna bit her lip, weighing her options. She knew she should focus on the upcoming meeting with the tech company owner, but the curiosity about H was gnawing at her. What if this person had a role to play in her sudden dive into the new world of leadership and fundraising? She typed a quick response, something lighthearted to diffuse the tension bubbling inside her. Who is this? She wrote back. And can I trust you? But there was no immediate reply, leaving her feeling unsettled. The evening faded into night, and Jenna's thoughts darted back and forth, tangled in excitement and apprehension. After dinner, Jenna and Eric migrated to the living room, where the soft glow of the lamp cast a comforting hue across the room. They sat cross-legged on the couch, surrounded by papers scattered from their recent planning session for the fundraiser. The remnants of her earlier determination battled her newfound doubts. Got any tips for my big day tomorrow? She asked, forcing a smile. Eric grinned, leaning back into the couch with a relaxed ease. Just remember to breathe. You know your stuff. And whoever H is, you control the narrative. Take the lead. Jenna let out a soft laugh. Will I be a disaster or what? Just hold my hand through the awkward moments. Absolutely. He affirmed, feigning a dramatic promise. Armed with coffee and charm, we'll tackle each cringe-worthy moment together. They both chuckled, but Jenna couldn't shake the heavy feeling in her gut. Each decision loomed larger than the last, the stakes rising with every tick of the clock. With a soft sigh, she turned to him, her voice softer. What if I'm not cut out for this? What if I crash and burn? Then you'll grow, he repeated, echoing his earlier words. You've got so much heart and passion, Jenna. That makes up for a lot of missteps. And I'll be right there cheering you on. His faith in her felt like a warm embrace, but just as quickly, the creaking of her resolve returned. Thoughts of H swirled in her mind, competing with the comforting words Eric had offered. Just as she leaned into welcoming thoughts of what tomorrow might bring, her phone buzzed again. Jenna's fingers flew to it. There on the screen was a new message from H, and her breath hitched as she read the words. Trust me. You'll want to know me. Let us talk more than just tomorrow. We have some business to discuss. H, her heart raced. What business? Was this truly an opportunity, or was it another twist in a growing web of uncertainty? As the breeze rustled the curtains, Jenna felt the specter of change closing in. Would tomorrow unleash something amazing, or would it turn into another heart-wrenching chapter of regret? The night stretched on, shrouded in questions yet to be answered, and the road ahead teetered on the brink of possibility. Tomorrow awaited, and so did destiny, tantalizingly close yet shrouded with shadows. Jenna's pulse quickened as she looked at Eric, her heart filled with a blend of hope and fear. Could they truly take on whatever was coming? And more importantly, who was H really? Jenna could feel the weight of the world resting on her shoulders as she stared at her phone. The message from H felt like a riddle, one that would take courage to untangle. She let out a shaky breath, trying to envision what tomorrow might bring. Hey, you good? Eric's voice cut through her haze, his concern evident in his eyes. It was comforting, yet she could still feel the uncertainty hovering around her like a dark cloud. Yeah, just thinking about this meeting, she said, forcing herself to break eye contact with the phone. I mean, what if they're a creep, you know? Eric nodded slowly. That's a valid concern. But think about it this way, you are more than capable of handling anything that comes your way. Just go in with an open mind, and remember your worth. Those words sank into her. Eric always had a knack for lifting her spirits, often without even realizing it. You really believe that? Of course, he said, flashing her a reassuring smile. Just imagine if H turns out to be exactly who you need, someone who can help elevate this cause. You can't know without showing up. Jenna felt a flicker of determination sparking inside her, but it was quickly dimmed by the relentless anxiety gnawing at her. Okay, all right, she said, committing to focus. I'll go and see what happens. But if it turns weird, I'm texting you immediately. Absolutely, Eric grinned, his confidence infectious. She tossed and turned in bed that night, her mind racing with thoughts of H. Could they be a potential investor? A collaborator? With every scenario she played out, her heart danced between excitement and nerves. Each imagined face, each fake conversation, only intensified her longing to uncover the mystery behind the initial text. When morning arrived, Jenna was jolted awake by the sudden buzz of her phone. It took a moment to register that it was almost time for her meeting with H. She couldn't drown the pulse of anticipation in her chest, nor shake the sense that today could lead her down an unexpected path. The thought terrified and thrilled her simultaneously. She quickly dressed, pouring every ounce of her confidence into her outfit. A smart blazer, a touch of makeup, and her most comfortable shoes. She needed to feel ready, and right now, the outside needed to match the storm brewing inside. As she stepped into the cafe, the aroma of freshly brewed coffee wrapped around her like a warm blanket. Her heart raced as she searched for any sign of the mysterious H. Was she early? Late? Jenna settled at a table in the corner, glancing at the door every few moments, half hoping to see a familiar face. Time crept by, and doubts filled her mind like a thick fog. What if this was just a joke? What if she was wasting precious time and energy on something that would ultimately go nowhere? Just then, her phone lit up again. A third message from H. She held her breath as she opened it. I'm here. Wearing the green scarf. Can't wait to chat. She scanned the crowded cafe and spotted a figure in the corner, an unexpected presence wrapped in a vibrant green scarf. The person was older, but their style radiated a certain coolness that made her both intrigued and cautious. Was this the business partner she had hoped for, or just a random encounter spiraling out of control? Taking a deep breath, she stood, her heart pounding in her ears. Every step toward the stranger felt like stepping closer to destiny itself. Jenna smiled nervously as she approached, but as soon as their eyes met, she felt an undeniable force crackle between them. H smiled back, their expression enigmatic as ever. Jenna, right? They said, the warmth in their voice calming her racing heart. Yes, and you're H? She asked cautiously, her mind racing with possibilities. Yes, and I hope you're ready for an adventure, H replied. We have a lot to discuss. Jenna's breath hitched. What awaited her on this unexpected journey? And just as curiosity replaced apprehension, another voice from the doorway echoed, startling them both. It was someone she least expected to see. Eric, standing there with a mix of concern and something else. Was it jealousy? What did that change about the encounter? Who was H really, and what would happen next? Jenna's eyes flickered between H and Eric, each expression creating a tapestry of confusion in her mind. The warmth of H's smile contrasted sharply with Eric's tense demeanor. He clenched his jaw, and Jenna could sense an intensity beneath his calm exterior. Eric. She called, trying to weave the tension into a bridge of familiarity. What are you doing here? It's a small town, Eric replied, forcing a smile to mask his unease. He stepped forward, a moment of uncertainty flickering in his eyes as he glanced at H. I just wanted to check in on you. Oh, I see. Jenna's heart sank a little. I'm here with H to discuss. She hesitated, searching for the right words, opportunities. H glanced at Eric, a subtle challenge in their expression. We were just getting started. Maybe you want to join us? Eric exclaimed, momentarily caught off guard. No, that's okay. I actually, Eric, Jenna interjected, determination edging into her voice. Why don't you stay? I'd love to hear your input too. The words felt powerful as they left her lips, igniting her sense of agency. She turned back to H, who was watching the exchange with an amused glint in their eye. Sure, the more, the merrier, they said, waving Eric over with a welcoming gesture. Eric hesitated but finally nodded, taking a seat across from them. The atmosphere shifted. What had started as two people on the precipice of a new venture now felt like a tense triangle of unspoken feelings. Well, let's start fresh, H suggested, their tone lightening the air. I've heard about your project, Jenna. It's inspiring what you're trying to do for the community. Jenna felt a surge of pride at H's acknowledgement and a sense of validation. Thank you. I truly believe it could make a difference. Eric remained quiet, observing, and Jenna could feel his presence weighing heavily. Did he see this as a threat? She longed for their usual playful banter or supportive encouragement, something to ease the knot tightening in her stomach. H continued, and I admire you for taking that leap. Many people talk about change, but you're out here trying to make it happen. Suddenly, Jenna felt a spark. H was kindred spirits in ambition. I just want to create something lasting, she admitted, her voice steady as she pushed through her nervousness. Something that goes beyond me. At that moment, she looked into H's eyes, and the connection surprisingly deepened. But just as she felt the possibility of something new, she caught Eric's gaze, and his unspoken feelings carried a weight that made her pulse race. What's your vision? Eric finally asked, breaking the thick silence. His tone was softer, more curious now. Jenna seized the opportunity. I want to empower our youth. I believe they have the potential to change the world, but they need guidance. Her heart swelled with passion as she spoke. It's crucial for them to have support. H nodded, showing clear interest. And how do you envision making that happen? As Jenna began to outline her thoughts, she felt a rush of energy. She needed a team to bring her vision to life. H was the missing piece, the bridge to resources and connections she had only dreamt of. But then, a worry crept in. What did Eric think of her plans? Did this all feel ridiculous to him? Eric's brow knit in concentration. Jenna wondered if he was imagining how his own skills could intertwine with hers. But then he glanced at H, the flicker of jealousy returning to his eyes, making Jenna's heart ache. That it felt like they were balancing on a precipice of opportunity and unwanted tension. Jenna sensed that H's presence could shift everything, yet it also threw her relationship with Eric into uncertainty. After what felt like an eternity of deliberation, Eric finally spoke again. I think we should all get on board with this. Jenna, you inspire me. The words buoyed Jenna's heart, but a cloud of confusion loomed over her. Could she foster this evolving opportunity with H and still preserve her bond with Eric? H, I'm ready for this adventure, she said, forcing back the swirling questions in her head. Good, H replied, a spark of excitement lighting their eyes. Let us make it happen. Together. As possibilities opened before Jenna like blooming petals, her phone buzzed again, startling the fragile ambience. She glanced at the screen, seeing a name pop up that sent a chill down her spine. It was a message from her mother. Jenna, we need to talk. Now. What could that possibly mean at this pivotal moment? Jenna's heart raced as she stared at the screen. The world around her faded into background noise, and all she could focus on was the message, the urgency echoing in her mind like a drum. We need to talk. Now. Jenna. H's voice broke through her thoughts, pulling her back into the moment. They looked concerned, gesturing toward her phone. You seem a bit pale. Everything okay? She forced a smile, but inside, a storm was brewing. Yeah, just a text from my mom. Eric leaned forward, curiosity etched on his face. Is everything all right? His usual bravado softened, vulnerability spilling into his tone. I'm sure it's nothing. She's a bit dramatic sometimes, Jenna fibbed, trying to wave away their concern. But she could feel the weight of Eric's gaze on her, a mix of disbelief and care. Are you sure you want to continue? H asked gently. If you need to go, no, I want to focus on this, Jenna insisted, shaking off the dread creeping in. She turned her attention back to the pair, reminding herself of what was at stake. This is important. Eric studied her, the tension shifting as if he was trying to gauge her resolve. Then let us make the most of it. What's the next step? H nodded, visibly refocused. Right. Jenna, tell us more about how you envision engaging the kids. I want to hear all your ideas. Jenna felt the flicker of excitement reignite. Her passion surged as she began detailing workshops, mentoring programs, and community initiatives. Each word she spoke began to weave them together, forming a tapestry of hope. But as she shared, the nagging feeling didn't disappear, it loomed, a dark cloud shadowing her excitement. Every time her phone buzzed again, her heart jumped, half expecting another message that might further unravel her thoughts. Finally, after a few more minutes of enthusiastic discussion from Jenna took a breath, exhaling her worries. I think we can have an initial meeting with the community board next week to present this. She glanced at Eric, who seemed more engaged than before. Will you both come with me? Absolutely, Eric confirmed immediately. I'd love to help. Smiled, and Jenna felt a rush of warmth at their support. Maybe this was the start of something substantial, not just for her project but for the relationships swirling around her, but just as she began to feel confident, her phone buzzed once more, vibrating furiously next to her. With hesitation, she picked it up, her fingers trembling as she opened the text. Jenna, you won't believe what I just heard. Come home before it's too late. Her breath caught in her throat. What could her mom possibly mean? Had something gone wrong? An old fear swelled inside her, the memories of their fraught relationship cascading back like an unwelcome tide. Jenna? Eric's voice cut through the fog, a note of concern lacing his words. He leaned closer again, as if he could protect her from whatever turmoil was lurking in the message. Taking a deep breath, Jenna fought to steady herself. Sorry, interjected, you should take a moment. Family is important. Jenna glanced at the two of them, seeing genuine worry in their expressions. They were offering her an olive branch, an understanding that felt foreign and warm. Maybe you're right. Her thoughts whirled. I can't ignore this. As she rose from her seat, immediately stood, their eyes supportive. Do you want us to come with you? A small part of her wanted to say yes, to not face whatever awaited her alone. But she shook her head, uncertainty hanging heavy in the air. I think I need to do this by myself. Be careful, Eric said softly, his voice laced with concern that reached into her chest. With a nod, Jenna took one last glance at them, their faces filled with hope and a hint of worry. She could feel the importance of this moment like a pulse in her veins. Let us regroup after, okay? I'll let you know what's going on. As she walked away, each step felt like a leap into the unknown. What awaited her at home was a question she dreaded but could no longer avoid. She took a deep breath, determined to face whatever revelation was coming, but as she reached the door, a voice echoed behind her, freezing her in place. Jenna, wait. What if your mom isn't the only one you need to talk to? Eric's words hung in the air, heavy with meaning. She turned back, her heart racing, the uncertainty pressing down like a weight. But what was left unspoken lingered in the space between them, igniting a spark of possibility. What if she didn't have to face everything alone? With that single thought spinning in her mind, Jenna stepped outside, ready to confront the unknown looming before her. Jenna stepped into the brisk evening air, and the chill hit her like a wave. She pulled her jacket tighter around her, trying to fend off the thoughts swirling in her mind. Where were her feet taking her? The streetlights flickered overhead, casting long shadows on the pavement as she moved forward, but her heart was drawing her back to what felt like a lifetime of unresolved issues. With each step towards home, uncertainty gnawed at her. The text tugged at her consciousness like an anchor, but it wasn't only the message that troubled her, it was the unsaid burdens of their past. Too many misunderstandings had piled between her and her mother over the years, wounds that festered quietly beneath the surface. Jenna braced herself, knowing this conversation could be anything but easy. As she turned onto her street, the familiar sight of her childhood home came into view. The porch light glowed warmly, but there was an ominous weight to it, as if it were a warning or a beacon, an invitation to the chaos inside. Jenna hesitated before stepping onto the porch, every nerve in her body screaming for her to turn back. She knocked cautiously. The sound echoed, and seconds felt like hours before the door creaked open. Her mother stood there, looking older, wearier. The sparkle in her eyes had dulled, shadowed by whatever burden she was carrying. Jenna, her mom began, her voice thick with emotion. I didn't think you'd come. Jenna swallowed hard. You said we need to talk. Her mother stepped aside, allowing Jenna to enter. The scents of old books and dinner wafted through the air, mingling with a deeper underlying tension. I didn't want to scare you with the message, but I heard something about a friend from the past. Jenna's heart pounded. What do you mean? It's about Jake, your childhood friend. I overheard something that made me anxious, her mother said, her gaze flicking to the floor, unable to meet Jenna's eyes. It's serious. The mention of Jake sent a shockwave through Jenna. A rush of memories flooded back, those carefree summer afternoons spent laughing and dreaming. But they also reminded her of the rift that grew when they both chose different paths. What happened? Why wouldn't you just tell me? That's why I sent the message. I thought it would be better to talk face to face. The air grew thick with unspoken words. Mom, I'm asking you what you heard. I'm not here to dissect our past right now. Her mother drew a shaky breath. It's about his family. They've been dealing with some issues. Health problems. I thought you'd want to know. You two were close once, maybe you could reach out. Jenna felt her emotions pull tight as she sank into a nearby chair. I haven't spoken to him in years. What do you expect me to do? Reach out. Talk to him. I know it's complicated, but people change, Jenna. You don't have to carry all this bitterness. Her mother's voice trembled. I'm just worried he might need you now. Bitterness? It was a word that echoed with pain. Jenna felt it like a wave crashing over her, mixing anger and nostalgia. Did her mother truly believe there was still a bridge to cross after everything left unaddressed? Amidst her mother's urging, Jenna wrestled with her internal turmoil. She could feel the cracks forming in her staunch resolve, though. Perhaps it was time to face the past, not only with Jake but with her mother too. Maybe, she began cautiously. Maybe I should reach out. But I don't know if I can just forget all that's happened between us. The weight of unresolved feelings swirled in the stillness that followed. Jenna's heart raced, caught in a tide of hope and hesitation. What if this was the moment she had waited for, the chance to mend ties and weave new stories? Just think about it, her mom whispered, her voice thick with unshed tears. As Jenna stood to leave, a new sense of determination ignited inside her. Let me think, she said quietly. Perhaps confronting Jake would be the catalyst she needed to not only reconnect with him but with herself and her mother. But as she stepped outside, another question loomed large. Would he even want to talk? The night wrapped around her like a cloak, holding the promise of change, leaving Jenna wrestling with emotions she had thought long buried. What awaited her next could redefine everything she believed about family, friendship, and healing. And as she walked back into the night, she couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. Would reaching out to Jake bring closure or open up a whole new chapter filled with challenges yet to face? Jenna stepped out of her childhood home, heart racing with all the possibilities that lay ahead. The night was cool, and as she walked toward the cafe, every step felt like a quiet whisper of hope guiding her. Her mother's words echoed in her mind. Just think about it. Reaching out to Jake might be one of the most challenging things she could do, but it could also be the start of unlocking parts of herself that had been tightly shut away for too long. The cafe came into view, its warm lights flickering like stars in the dark. As she crossed the threshold, the comforting smell of coffee surrounded her, flooding her with a sense of familiarity. Jenna found a corner table and took a seat, glancing around to see if H had arrived yet. This was the moment to redefine the narrative of her life, a chance to step into being someone who could reach beyond her struggles. Lost in thought, she barely noticed H sliding into the chair across from her until they greeted her with a wide, encouraging smile. Ready for the next step? H asked, their enthusiasm vibrant and infectious. More than ready, Jenna replied, her voice steadying as she felt the weight of her determination solidify within her. I'm excited to see where this can lead. And as they sat there discussing the potential for community initiatives, her phone buzzed again. Her heart surged. Was it Jake? It felt like fortune was beckoning her. She checked her screen, but the name on it made her pulse quicken in a different way. It was Eric. A mix of concern and warmth flooded through her as she swiped to answer. "Hey, Eric," she said, unable to hide the smile creeping onto her lips. "Hey. Just checking in," he replied, his voice clear and supportive. "Have you talked to your mom? How did it go?" "Yeah, I just got back," she admitted, her heart lighter now. "We talked about some things complex, but necessary." "Good. It's progress," Eric replied, a note of pride slipping into his tone. "You're doing something incredible already." Jenna glanced at H, who was watching her closely, a hint of admiration in their eyes, and it stirred her spirit. "Thanks, Eric. I feel like this moment is pivotal for me," she confessed, her gaze now drifting to the window as she watched the world outside. A veil of fear still cloaked her mind, but the spark of possibility began to shine through. "I also got some advice that maybe I should reach out to an old friend." She inhaled deeply, allowing herself to embrace the unresolved feelings that rushed over her as she mentioned Jake. "That sounds great. If it feels right, you should definitely do it." Eric encouraged, and his faith bolstered her courage. As their conversation wrapped up, Jenna looked back to H. "I'm so ready to dive in," she said, feeling a rush of energy just speaking the words. "Let's brainstorm." H clapped their hands together. The energy in the cafe thrummed with electricity, as though fate itself was guiding Jenna along this new path. They worked tirelessly, weaving ideas and dreams into actionable steps. With each passing minute, Jenna felt the fear dissipate, replaced by the warmth of determination and purpose. She opened up deeper about her vision, mentoring youth, and empowering women in the community, each word flowing freely, filled with a burgeoning sense of self-worth. Suddenly, the cafe door swung open, and in walked the last person she expected to see, Jake. For a moment, time stood still. The vivid memories of their youth rushed back, both cherished and bittersweet, setting her heart racing. He looked older, more seasoned, but the spark in his eyes remained. "Jenna?" he said, the surprise evident in his voice as he approached their table. A dozen thoughts zipped through her mind, each vying for attention. Why was he here? Was this a coincidence? Or a cue from the universe? "Hey, Jake," she replied, trying to calm the whirlwind of emotions stirring within her. He opened his mouth to speak, and suddenly, the tension hanging in the air felt palpable. "I've been meaning to reach out, but you know how things got complicated." Jenna opened her mouth, the words of frustration, vulnerability, and remorse surfacing. "Yeah, it's been a while. I actually just heard that you needed support." His features softened, and there was a flicker of hope in his gaze. "I'd love to catch up," he said, glancing at H before back to her. "If you'd be willing." Jenna looked at H, her heart pounding with realization. This was the crossroad she had an inkling she would face today, the intersection of her past and future, and the chance to see if the threads of connection cut so long ago could be rewoven. "Let's talk," she nodded, heart leaping as she embraced the chaos of vulnerability blooming within her. This was her moment, a moment of courage, reconciliation, and rebirth. At that moment, she understood what family and friendship truly meant. It wasn't just about comfort, it was about navigating through imperfections together, standing strong, and emerging on the other side transformed. The cafe's radiant warmth enveloped them as Jenna took her first step into facing the unknown, realizing the real journey to healing could begin now. She could feel Eric's supportive presence and H's genuine encouragement in her heart as the three of them began to craft a new narrative. The winds of transformation were beginning to swirl, new life blossoming amidst the familiarity of old memories, and together, they stepped forward, guided by hope, ready to embrace whatever came next. Now was the moment for everyone who resonated with Jenna's journey to take action. You need to subscribe immediately to ensure you don't miss more inspiring stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Comment below how you felt about this life-changing transformation. And share this video with at least 5 friends who need this dose of hope and courage. Don't wait not even one more second to show what community means.